Thank you. So we'll
Welcome, boss.
record the, yeah, sorry. All right. So we'll record this and then we'll show you how to access it after we are done. Okay. All right. So let's delve in immediately. So I'm sure you know myself already, Eric, and then I will be taking you through this training. So what are we going to look at today briefly? So we'll look at a few trends in pensions and retirement. We'll try and understand pensions generally. I mean, we'll not go too deep, but I mean, the information that I'm going to give you today will be very necessary and sufficient for you. Then we'll look at how to calculate your benefits when you go on retirement. Then we'll look at a few facts about retirement that people do not know. In fact, it will come to you like a shock. And then the final one, we'll try to come up with some plans on what you do now so that when the time of your retirement is due, you don't find yourself in that kind of situation. All right. So, what are our objectives for today? Our objectives are that we're going to first of all understand the three tiers of pensions. That's the first thing that we'll do. And after that, we look at how ways to increase our net worth through before our retirement. And then also at the end of the session, we should also be able to understand how to calculate our retirement and how to even access them when we are on retirement. What do you do and where do we go to access our retirement? And also we're able to manage our expectations prior to our retirement. So that's basically what I envisage to achieve at the end of the training today. Right. So a few things that you should know. One, as at this year, when Smith did an evaluation, okay, Smith is the it's pays pensioners on monthly basis. We'll look at what form is pay. But then currently in Ghana today, as at 2026, the least paid pension per a pensioner earns as low as 400 Ghana cedis. As low as 400 Ghana cedis. That's the least pensioner earns as low as 400 Ghana cedis. And then this figure is an increment based on last year. Last year was around 300. So this year they're looking at 400 Ghana cedis. So the question is that should you be earning this kind of money, would you be able to survive? So some pensioners in Ghana today are earning 400 Ghana cedis. And we know the way the economy is like as at today. And the question is that how do you survive with this kind of money? In fact, for me, the answer is I can never survive with this kind of money for a whole month. And even what makes it worse is that at pensions, there are a lot of issues that you tend to deal with. Major amongst them is your health. Okay, so I mean, once you are aging, your body gets weaker and you need to take care of yourself. So you see that, I mean, 400 cedis will not be sufficient to take good care of yourself. And that is the reason why a lot of them tend to die. So if you look at my slide, you see that on point three, I indicated that about 71% of those who turn 60 die after that. They'll die before even they reach 65. So which means that a lot of people who go on pension before age 65, 71% of them would have passed. And this is a very troubling trend, okay, for 71% of them to die before 65th birthday. It's a very troubling situation. And I can infer that probably one of the issues could be because they are not having enough funds to take good care of themselves and their bodies have failed and then they are able to manage themselves. And you can see clearly that those who are able to have enough money, they live a bit longer because I mean they have very good places to take good care of themselves in terms of health wise, and they eat well, they take good care of themselves, so they live a bit longer than 65. But then the vast majority, as indicated on the slide, pass away before they turn 65. And then, like I mentioned earlier on, unless otherwise, probably the legislature arm of government is looking at reviewing it. Any employee that turns 60 has to go on retirement, except for some people, like for instance, on top of my head, I know of judges. Judges are supposed to retire at age 70. But aside judges, basically employees are supposed to retire at the age of 60. So once you turn 60 years, Now, when you don't even need me to come and even tell you that, oh, you are going on retirement, you should know. You should even be engaging me to ask me what the processes are to be able to off board safely and then go and have some rest, right? Then I realized also that a lot of people fear retirement. When they turn 55 going, then they are afraid. Their hearts beat every now and then. Hey, I'm almost going to retire. I'm almost going to retire. All the fear they are having is not because they are going to retire. It's because they've not gathered enough resources to take good care of themselves when they go on retirement. Otherwise, some people choose to retire even earlier because they have enough resources to take care of themselves. So they choose to stop working and appeal their own little business and take care of themselves. And they go on retirement. But once you are afraid to go on retirement, it means that you've not prepared yourself. The things that you fear are the things you don't know about. You understand? So you don't know how the retirement is going to be. You've not prepared yourself towards it. Yes. All right. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Yeah, we
please.
can hear you, but your screen is gone.
Oh, it's gone off. All right, that's fine. Just a minute. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sure. So basically, like I said, it has to do with people being afraid or because they haven't planned or prepared themselves towards their retirement. And that is the reason why perhaps they will be afraid. Okay. So let's go now. Let's try and understand how the pension system works in Ghana. Okay. So currently, the law that we are using for pensions in Ghana was a review of a law that was enacted in the year 2008. However, the law was passed in 2008 and it took full effect in 2010, right? And this is the structure of the law I'm going to take you through now. Now, currently, everybody contributes to 3 tiers of pensions, okay? But the 3 tiers of pensions, the third tier is not compulsory, it's optional. But then the first and the second tiers of the pensions are compulsory. So currently, every employee contributes to tier one and tier two, right? So, that one, the law has in such a way that you don't have a choice. Once you are working and you are being paid salary, obviously you'd have to contribute to tier one and the tier two, right? So you as an employee, you contribute fully to tier two, contribute fully to tier two. Okay. So you can see that the tier one that we contribute, that's what goes to what we call SNET. That is 13.5 of your basic salary, not your total gross salary. So when you are calculating the tier one, it's on your basic salary. We don't calculate it on your allowances. No, we just take only your basic salary and then we calculate the 13.5 of that amount. And that is what goes to SNET, which is what we call the tier one. But before it reaches SNET, 2.5% of the 13.5 goes to NHIA. So in effect, it is only 11% that reaches SNET, right? So the 2.5 goes to NHIA. That is the reason why those who have NHIA card and at the same time contribute to SNET, the annual premium that you contribute or you use to renew your SNET, your NHIS card is very small. It's not even up to 20 cedis. It's very small. Okay, once you are contributing to SNET, the assumption is that the 2.5 goes to NHIE to support your contribution towards your health insurance. And it is for this reason that when you go on retirement, you are not supposed to renew your health insurance again with money. Because once you contributed actively to SNET, then of course then of course you don't need to renew your NHIS card when you go on retirement. So if today you are not having an NHIS card, then you are doing yourself a very great disservice because once you are already contributing automatically to it, you should have the NHIS card. Even if you have a private health insurance card, you should have an NHIS card to support your private health insurance card. Because I mean, you don't know when you need it, you don't know where you go, and perhaps maybe the coverage of your private health insurance does not cover, and probably the NHIS card could do you some good at that point. All right. So it's very important that you also consider having the NHIS. Even if you have it and you don't use it, know that I mean you paid for it already. It's just a small top up that you do year on year to renew the card and have it active. All right. So basically, like I said, 13.5 goes to SNIT. But this 13.5, the employer contributes 13 for you. You are only contributing the 0.5. So the employer contributes 13 for you. So usually I have people saying that, oh, I'm going on retirement. The company has not done anything for me. I've done a very great service to the company. I've worked with the company for a very long time. The company didn't do anything for me. I'm like, hey, are you sure? Because the company, the 13% that the company is contributing for you is not your money. It's not coming from your salary. It is not money that you have worked for. No. The law says that the 13% should be the employer's own money that he or she is contributing on your behalf. So that 13% is even the highest that you are contributing for you. So, I mean, the law had made it very easy for you, such that even if employers had their plan not to see you off nicely when you are going on retirement, this law has already made that provision that automatically your employer has actually prepared ahead for you for your retirement. So you don't even have to say that, oh, my employer didn't give me anything. I mean, it is only out of policies that some companies prefer to give some other thing. It is not, there is no law backing the fact that the employer should give you some additional thing again when you are going on retirement. So some people get angry and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes I just look at them and I laugh. Those people who get angry and they talk. I mean, the symptoms are very clear. It tells you clearly they have not prepared themselves towards retirement. So they'll be complaining. You understand? But if you have prepared yourself, I mean, why should you be complaining about the fact that they haven't given you anything? Some of them will come and say that, oh, actually, they shouldn't buy me a TV set so I will carry home. Hey, so since all your work life is working, you couldn't afford to buy a TV for yourself. I mean, it's totally unacceptable. So please, you should know that the 13% that the employer contributes for you is not from your salary. It is the employer that is supposed to take its own money and contribute for you. It is only the 5% that you contribute from your salary. All right. So in addition to that, we have a 16.5 maximum. So in all, per the tax laws in Ghana, you can only contribute 35% of your basic salary to pensions. And it is spread across the tier 1, tier 2, and the tier 3. Now, this 35% is not fixed. You can increase it. However, 35% is not subjected to tax deduction. So if I prefer that I want to go above the 35, I want to do 40, then the excess of the 5% will be subjected to tax deductions. So if you decide that, okay, I want to do only the 35, then it means that you are reducing your tax liability. But currently, if you are doing only tier 1 and the tier 2, and you are not doing tier 3, in fact, the sad story is that you are making government of Ghana cheat you, because you could have added some portion of the tier 3 or all of the tier 2, the 16.5, and reduce your tax liability. So currently, if you look at your pay slips or when your salary comes, government takes some tax from, which is the income tax, okay? So the income tax is calculated after pensions have been deducted. So pensions is deducted from your basic first. Whatever is left is what they tax. So imagine that you deduct tier 2 and that tier 3. It means you have deducted chunk of your money to save for yourself. And then whatever is left is not that big. Therefore, the tax that you pay will be very minimal. Mind you, this money you are deducting is money you are going to save for yourself that you will enjoy in the future. So for me, I prefer that, oh, okay, let me deduct more of my pensions, save it, so I reduce my tax burden today. But once you decide that, oh, me, I want to chop the money into my stomach, then government will get you and you pay more taxes, right? So that is very, very important. A lot of people do not know this. So people are not contributing to tier three, and it is, I mean, it's not compulsory to contribute, optional, like I said. And three, what are you that? One, it helps you to reduce your tax liability. Two, it helps you to save ahead of your retirement so that your benefits that you get at retirement will be more than what you would have gotten if you were dealing with only tier one and the tier two. Even you can even use the tier three as a collateral to even purchase lands or any property. Some real estate agents are very much particular about this tier three. So if you want to go and purchase land, you can use it as a collateral. They see it, you are contributing to it, and then you are paying small, small. If you're not able to finish paying, you can move the tier three and use it to pay off the rest of your liability with the estate. Okay. So does anyone have any questions now to this point? Any question, or I can proceed? Okay. All right, that's fine. Let's proceed then. Okay. So like I indicated earlier on, the employer contributes 13% for you. Okay. And then you contribute 5.5%. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So I've moved my slides to a different slide. I don't know if you can see it. I've moved away from the understanding of the pensions. Can you see my next slide?
No, please. We still see understanding pensions.
Okay, okay, right. Just a minute. All right. Let me know if you can see it now, if it has changed.
It hasn't, please.
Okay, just a minute. Hello, can you see my screen now? Or still you can see it?
No, please. We can only see your initials.
Okay, all right, just a minute. The network. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. Okay, that's fine. So, like I was saying earlier on, the employer contributes 13% on your behalf. You contribute 5.5. So the zero point 0.5 on your 5.5 is what is added to the employer's 13, and that is what goes to SNET. So the tier one is what goes to SNET, which is 13.5, and then the tier two is the 5%, which is what goes to a private pensions house. So currently in Reliance, we use standard pension to manage your tier two. And you know, the reason that led to the split of the pensions before, all the 18.5 was going to how do you call it, SNET. And then you know, a lot of labor unions in Ghana agitated and they complained that SNET was not managing the funds prudently, and there was a need to bring some competition into the market, and hence bring some level of privatization into the system. And that was what led to the splitting of the 18.5 into 13 for SNET, 13.5 for SNET, and then 5 for the private pensions house. So currently we have different administrators in the pensions industry that manage the tier tier three, okay, tier two, and as well as the tier three, right? So basically, what happens is that you see that really when you move from one company to the other, you have different institutions that manages the tier two. So with Reliance, we use standard pensions. Some company use Access, some company use Petra, some companies also use Enterprise. I mean, there are so many of them. However, whichever company that you are with is that company that you contribute your pensions to. Please, I hope you understand.
Yes, please.
Very well. So currently, Reliance, we contribute our tier two to standard pensions, and then our tier three, we contribute that to Petra. Okay. So if after we are done and you want to contribute to the tier three, I would show you the process on how to do that. I've actually sent that on some of the platforms already. I'm sure by the time we are done, I would have posted it on all the other platforms as well. So, like I indicated, the tier three is actually optional, and since it is 16.5, it's optional. So you as an employee can decide that okay, I want to contribute to tier three, or in some cases, the employers also contribute to tier three for you. So in some companies, the employer will contribute some of the percentage. So let's say the employer can contribute 10, and then the employee will also be made to contribute, let's say, the rest of the 6.5 or just 5%. So, I mean, depending on the kind of policy the company runs, employer can contribute for you, and then employee will add up, or it is only the employee that contributes. But again, I mean, this is your personal decision. If you want to contribute, the good thing is that we Reliance, we have a tier three scheme registered already. So if you want to contribute, whether or not your employer that you have been assigned to contribute, you can choose or elect to contribute to tier three. And like I said, I mean, this would help to shore up the money that you would receive on your retirement so that you don't become handicapped. You don't, I mean, get scared of how you're going to manage yourself during your retirement. And you know, the interesting thing is that the age 60 will come within a twinkle of an eye. I'm very much aware that a lot of us on this call here are either almost 30 years or above 30 years. You can always remember when you were about 5 or 10 years, some 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you can remember what you were doing. And it was totally not, it came within just a very short period. And the next 10 years will come within a very short period. So you should start preparing yourself now. Don't wait until when you turn 50 or you're almost 60 and say, hey, I want to now save, I want to now save. No, you're just going to give yourself unnecessary blood pressure. And that can even kill you faster. And you exit and leave your contributions that you have done. So it is better to start something now that would save you towards your retirement than you take the risk and do nothing about it. And at retirement, you would have to go through a lot of pain to keep yourself running. And it's interesting how when you go on retirement, apart from the fact that I said, a lot of the body begins to fail, you need to take good care of it. Some people interestingly become a busiapenyi. Every funeral you would have to attend, and you don't have money. So, imagine how you're going to survive yourself. And some people have actually bet their income flow on their children, thinking that, oh, my child will be working and my child will come and take care of me. Ask yourself today, how much do you even remit out of a salary to your parents today? How much of your salary do you remit to them? And you think that money, if that same thing was being remitted to you on a monthly basis, will it will never be. Now, then you get to that point and you start having regrets. It is a regret that will even kill you faster. Right? Right. Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at now is we are going to try and understand what goes into calculating your pensions when you go on retirement. There are three main factors that influence how much you would receive when you go on retirement. So after even doing this, you can sit down, request for your SNIT statement, and start calculating. Then you will know that, hey, this is what I'm going to get when I go on retirement. So if it is enough for you, fair enough. You can wait for that time. If it's not going to be enough for you, then perhaps you can start advising yourself before that day comes. Okay. So per the law, before you can qualify to get pensions with SNIT, you would have to contribute for at least 15 years. And the 15 years, it does not necessarily mean that you should work continuously for 15. Maybe you work for 3 years to stop. You work for another 5 years to stop, another 4 years to stop. It doesn't matter. When we put everything together, we should have 15 years. If it's not up to 15 years, then SNIT will tell you that you do not qualify for pensions to be collecting monthly pensions. Okay. So once you contribute for 15 years or more, then you qualify to be receiving pensions every month from SNIT, which means that SNIT will be paying you monthly until the day you decide that you want to go and meet your maker. So that is what happens. That is why, for this reason, SNIT has made sure that if you are now coming to register with them for the first time and you are above 45 years, they would never register you. And the reason they will not register you is because, assuming you are 47 years and you are now going to register with SNIT, it means you have only 13 years more until you reach your 60 years. Okay. And based on that, you will never have contributed the 15 years that they need as a minimum to be able to qualify you to be receiving monthly salary from them. So they will not register you. They would advise you that it is better you go and add your tier 1 deductions, your tier 1 contributions to the tier 2, so that the 18.5 all will go to your tier 2 administrators. All right. So the first requirement is that you should have contributed for at least 15 years. Even if you registered before the age 45 and your total contribution is not up to 15 years, SNIT will still not pay you monthly salary when you go on retirement. What they will do is that they will add all the contributions that you have contributed, put them together, calculate interest based on what the current market rates are, and then give you the money as a lump sum amount. And whatever you choose to go and do with it, that is your problem. Right? So they will not pay you on monthly basis. Right? That is what SNIT will do. In addition to this, before I come to the three factors I'm going to discuss, when you go on retirement as well, okay, at age 60, per the law, it is supposed to pay you until you die. However, if you should pass on before age 70, before 75, SNIT has made a provision that the very first 15 years of your pensions or your retirement period, it has covered for that fully. So if you should exit or you should die before age 75, the rest of the years or the month left before you get to 75, SNIT calculates your monthly payment they're supposed to give you and then give it out to your beneficiaries that you nominated on your SNIT forms when you were filling the forms with them. So if you know someone who passed on, who is a pensioner who passed on, maybe let's say at age 70, it means SNIT owes that person's beneficiaries 5 years salary, which they're supposed to pay to the beneficiary. You understand? And before that can be done, immediately the person passes, a family member needs to quickly notify SNIT with a letter that so and so person has passed on. Then based on that, SNIT will freeze the contributor, they will freeze the payment. So they don't pay it into the deceased person's account. And then they'll hold on. Once burial and everything are done, the necessary documentations are done with SNIT. They will now look at who the person nominated as his or her nominated beneficiaries, and then they pay the excess of those monies to the beneficiaries per the percentages that were decided on the form, right? So, but then if you exceed 75 before the person dies, then there is no money going to be paid to any beneficiary. So what it means is that once the person exits after 75, that ends the story. Okay, so that is a few informations for you to know. Now let's look at the three key things that influence how much you are going to get on your retirement. All right. The first one is that they look at what they call the average of your 3 best year contributions. So I mean, every month you contribute to pensions. Every month you contribute to pensions. So let's assume that you started working from 2010 and you were contributing to the pensions from 2010 till now, and maybe you are retiring maybe in 2025. You retired already. So they'll look at each of the years, they'll total them. You see, every month, every year has 12 months, and every month you were contributing. So they'll add every month for a year. So 2010, they'll put a total amount, 2011 total amount, 2012 total amount, 2013 total amount. And then they'll look at all the total amounts and see which of the three are the highest. Then they'll pick only those three. You sum those three and divide by 3. It will give you your average best salary. All right. So that's your average best salary. So then that gives you the first parameter into calculating how much you would earn. Okay. Right. So that is the first one. The second one is that once you have contributed the minimum 15 years, then you have earned what they call a pension right. So you have automatically 37.5. Okay, 37.5. So once you contributed exactly 15 years, then you have 37.5% being of that amount being allocated to you. But if you contribute more than the 15 years, for every additional year, they will add 1.125% to the 37.5. So if you've done only 16 years contribution, then obviously you are going to get about 38.625. That's what it means. Okay, so for every additional year you contribute, they'll add 1.125 to it. So with the pensions, right, the maximum you can get is around 60%. Okay, so then now they'll find that 60% of the average best 3 years that you've already calculated. All right, so that will give you how much you are going to earn. So these two factors I've mentioned are constant. However, if you decide to take an early retirement, that is before 60 years, then we now look at what we call the early retirement factor. All right, so we look at the early retirement factor. But however, if you retire at age 60, then there is no need to look at the early retirement factor. So should you retire at age 55, it means that out of what has been calculated already, that like I indicated, you only get 60% of that amount. If you retire at age 56, you get 67.50% of that amount. If you retire at age 57, you will get only 75% of the amount. But then if you choose to retire at age 60, you get a full 100% of the said amount. All right. So these are the three key indicators that influence how much you would get. So I mean, you can try and then check your SNIT statement. If you have not been receiving SNIT statements at least twice every year, then you need to walk into a SNIT office and find out why. Because at least, worst case scenario, you need to get it twice every year. But what I know is that they send it quarterly. Okay, but worst case scenario, you need to get it at least twice every year. All right. So that is very important. And once you even receive a statement, these informations I'm sharing with you, you even see a summary of it under, and you can take the trouble and calculate. Then you get to know, okay, as of today, this is how much I'm likely to earn if I should go on retirement. All right. So that gives you a very clear understanding of how to calculate your benefits when you go on retirement. Right. Okay. So if anyone has any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll move on. Then after calculating your benefits, every year SMIT does some increment on the amount that you have gotten. So just like I told you earlier on, currently, per the increment they have done, the minimum was 400 cedis for the worst paid pensioner. So every year, SMIT comes with a calculation that will tell the percentage that you use to increase your your money that you collect. That's the salary you collect from SNET. Okay, so they increase it. And there are two main factors they look at to determine the percentage increase. They look at either the minimum wage in the country at the time. So if the minimum wage in the country have increased, okay, normally minimum wage is determined by the trade union, okay, the trade union congress. So they come together with the labor set, the tripartite committee try to set up how much should be paid to the worst paid person in the country. So they look at the minimum wage, or they look at what they call the average salary. And with the average pays, yeah, tier 1 to SNIT. So SNIT actually has everybody's name, everybody's basic salary, and how much is being paid on their behalf. So SNIT actually has a schedule of that for the whole country. Everybody that contributes, they have that. So they can pick that data and calculate and tell what is the average salary in Ghana as of today. So they look at that average salary, and that also can influence what percentage they use to do the increment. So if let's assume that as of this 2026, the average salary was 500 cedis, but then the minimum wage was 300, then they'll go for the highest, which is the 500. But if they look at the average salary, and the average salary was, let's say, 300, and then the minimum wage was 400, then they'll go for the 400. So between these two, once they are finished computing these two, they'll look at which of them is the highest, and they'll go for the highest. All right, good. So that is also for you to know on how the calculations are being done. So I think I mentioned earlier on that once you exit before 75 years, your beneficiaries can receive the balance of your SNIT contribution. And also, I mean, SNIT is expected to pay you your lifetime. If you decide to live up to 1,000 years, SNIT is supposed to pay you. Per the law, they are supposed to continue paying you, right? And so you decide to exit. However, this is very important. A lot of people, after they fill the forms at SNIT for the very first time, and they nominate who their beneficiaries are, they don't go back to review them. It is very, very important to always go back and review those information, because you may not know. I mean, you might have had children, and these children, now you need to add them. If you don't go and then review and add them, I mean, no one would know about it. So it's always very important that you go back at every now and then to review your beneficiaries as often as you can. Okay, it's very important. I've had issues where some staff had passed on and did not put some very important people that they would have wished, all because they will tell you they don't have time, they are busy. Well, if you are busy, if that day comes, then SNET will only go by what you have written, and they will not make any changes to that effect. So that is very, very important. So let's take the trouble to visit SNET at least once in every year or something. If you think that there are certain people you need to add to your your nomination list, or there are certain people you need to remove. Why not? You need to remove them, and then you review that list periodically. All right. Okay. Any questions up to this point? Does anyone have any questions, or I can proceed? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Please, you can proceed.
All right. All right. Thank you. Okay. Now let's look at how the tier 2 is done. So just like I told you, with the tier 1, once you retire, the Senate is supposed to pay you on monthly basis until as and when you decide to go and meet your maker. But with the tier 2, it is different. With the tier 2, once you retire, then the company that was managing your funds is supposed to give you all the funds plus interest. So whatever contributions you have done over there, they are supposed to give you all that money back plus interest. And I can tell you confidently that since I joined Reliance, I mean, a lot of people who have received their funds, some of the monies they got was even more than the contributions that they contributed. For instance, the person contributed, his total contribution could have been, let's say, 20,000, but he ended up going home with, let's say, 45,000, which means the interest that has accrued on it is even way more than the money he or she even contributed. You understand? Which is very good. So that tells you that, I mean, this bulk amount of money is what you'll be given to you. So you will have that amount, and then plus SNATE will also be what contributing or be paying you on monthly basis. And you hear cases that people will take this money and they'll go and use it to do certain bad investments, and then they get into trouble, and that even kills them faster. Okay. So with the tier 2, like I said, you're supposed to receive a bulk amount of money plus interest. That's all. So the money you contributed plus interest. They don't pay you on monthly basis. All right. Now, I indicated earlier that with a tier 2, currently we are filing our tier 2 with standard pensions. So if you had worked earlier on elsewhere, you need to find out from your previous employer or previous employers where your tier 2 was being contributed to, or which administrator was managing your tier 2. So that when you get to know, it is very good to request for statement and find out that for all the years you worked with them, did they contribute all that money? Because if they did not, it means you are losing interest on your money. So if, let's say, you work with them for only 3 years, and then probably they contributed only just 1 year for you, it means that you are losing a whole lot of interest. And on the day of pension, no one cares. They will pay you whatever the company contributed on your behalf, all because you didn't do your due diligence to follow up to make sure that all your funds have been duly contributed. You understand? So you have to check, collect statements from them, and find out if everything has been contributed. If yes, then we thank God. If not, you need to find out from the company why they haven't contributed all the funds that I mean they were supposed to do that. Because I mean this is even more risky because the tier 2 is your own money. It's your own money. So not the company's money that they are contributing on your behalf. It is your own money that was deducted from your salary, and that is what they are contributing on your behalf. So you have to make sure that that money has been contributed. Okay. I mean, someone asked me that if we're supposed to file our pensions ourselves, we would never carry it. A lot of us will not find a way to the office to go and file our own pensions. We will divert and then take the money elsewhere and say that, oh, I have things I have to deal with, and then they'll go and use it to solve their problems. All right. So please try and make sure you follow up and be sure that all your contributions have been done. Don't wait till retirement and you now go and check and you'll be totally disappointed. You would have lost a lot of money because the interests are compounding. The interests are compounding. So the more the money, the more interest you make. The less the money, the less interest that you would accrue on your funds. So you need to make sure that you go and check, collect statements, and review and then you find out from them why they haven't contributed. All right. In the extreme case scenario, where the company is having difficulty on the contribution, they don't want to contribute for you. See that there's a clear, decision not to contribute not to pay off all those balances for you. Please, you can feel free and come to me, and I'll show you how to handle such a situation. All right. But then you have to make sure that those contributions have been done. Then, in addition to that, once the contributions have been done and you've seen that everything is intact, then you have the luxury of what we call porting. Porting simply means that you are moving your funds from that previous administrator and coming to add to the standard pensions one. Now, this is very, important, but it's not compulsory to port. It's optional. You can choose to do it. You can choose not to do it. Okay. So if you decide to port, then the benefit on it is that your returns will increase, because if the monies are bits and pieces and scattered across various administrators, the interest on it is lower compared to if the monies are located at one administrator. That one, your interest will compound very faster, so you get more money than if they are bits and pieces. The other risk is that if they are splitted apart, when you go on retirement, you would have to go to company A, use the same process to collect the tier 2, go to company B, use the same process to collect the tier 2. And you see, it becomes stressful. You waste your money. You will have to now take go here, go there, go there. You become tired. So it is good that they are all at one location or with one administrator, so that when you are moving from, let's say, Reliance one day to another company, you know that all your tier 2 is intact one. So you can move the same amount once without having to go to various companies to go and what? To move their account. Which is very bad. A lot of people have their retirement scattered. And sorry to say, but worst case scenario, God forbid, should you not put all at one location or port them all to one location, and God forbid you exit before the age 60, your beneficiaries may not even know that you work with these other companies, and perhaps your monies were with those other companies. They will leave them there, and then those companies too, they will just enjoy your money. Meanwhile, you suffered, you've worked for the money, and you wouldn't get anything out of it. All right. So it is very important to know that you have the luxury to port. However, if you want to port, you have to pick a form from us. You request for a form from us or from me, and then you fill out the form. We give you an email address. You share it to the email, and I'm sure within 90 working days, your money should have been moved. And how do you get to know? You can request for your statement from Standard Pensions, and then you check your statement to see if the money has been moved. So you will see it on your statement, okay, that the funds have been moved. So it will come, and then you get to know that, oh, okay, the funds have been moved. So they are all now with one administrator, all right? So, you can consider doing that. But like I said earlier on, it is not compulsory, but it has a lot of benefits than the negatives that would inure to you if you don't do that. All right. So does anyone have any questions at this point? Okay. All right. Now let's look at tier 3, which a lot of you are not doing because it is optional. In fact, based on this, I'm convinced that if tier 1 and tier 2 were also optional, then a lot of people would not even contribute to pensions at all. Scanning and so scanning is not enough for me. So why should I bother myself contribute to what? To pensions? The money, it will never be enough for you. You understand? It will never be enough. Even if they open Bank of Ghana vault and give you everything, it will never be enough for you. Some people, big people have so much money, yet they find dubious ways to be corrupt, to steal more. No matter what you do, the money will never be enough. But it's just a conscious effort to have a simple and comfortable life. That is all that we all look at doing. So now let's look at what the tier 3 does. So the tier 3, some companies call it provident fund. Okay, that means call it provident fund. And like I mentioned earlier on, you can contribute as much as 16 1.5, yes, will be taxed. Okay, will be taxed. And however, unlike a tier 1 and the tier 2, unlike a tier 1 and the tier 2, you don't need to turn 60 years before you can have access to your tier 3. After 10 years of contribution, you can access your tier 3 without any tax liabilities. But then if you decide to withdraw your funds before 10 years, then there are going to be tax liabilities on the money. Okay. So I've had issues where people started contributing tier 3 and then all of a sudden, hey, boss, me, I need money, I want to liquidate my tier 3. I say you. So then I said, then if they had the option to liquidate their tier 1 and tier 2, people will liquidate all those monies and spend them, and they don't care what will happen to them as retirement. So I mean, we are contributing to tier 3. It's nice. It's a good thing. Why don't you exercise patience and leave it there for the money to grow? Some people, is even within less than a year, they want to liquidate the funds and chop their money. No, it's not a good thing. You are not going to help yourself. Just pretend as though the money, you don't have access to it, just like you don't have access to the tier 1 and the tier 2. Let the money grow for you. In the future, you will benefit from it. But today, that small money over there, it won't do you anything. I mean, you can find another way to solve your problems. Our problems, we came to meet them. We solve the ones we can solve. You're not a superhero to solve all the problems in this world. The ones you can solve, solve them. The ones you cannot solve, you leave them. All right. So that is how the tier 3 also works. However, if you decide to go with the tier 3, one, you are increasing your net worth towards your retirement, which is very, very, very important. So it means that at retirement, you're not going to receive only amount from tier 2, but tier 3 will also give you a lump sum amount with huge interest on it. With huge interest on it. So you collect tier 2 and collect tier 3 and add to your money. And I mean, if you have to do some investment or some other things with the money to live on that till the day you'd exit, I mean, it is very good thing to do. And the money, like I said, the interest rate compounds. It's a compounding interest, all right? And the money grows very, very fast. Okay. So that basically is with the tier 3 as well. So if anyone has any questions, please, you can ask me. Otherwise, I would proceed. All right. Any questions up to this point? Yes, Emmanuel, please, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Good afternoon, Uncle Eric and team. My name is Emmanuel.
Yes.
So
Yes,
so
Emmanuel.
my question has to do with the next of kin. Excuse my language to say, in case you are no more, and you happen to go on retirement before you pass on, and your next of kin is to inherit your inheritance. And maybe if unfortunately you are not able to tell how much you are taking, maybe in the course of your pension, you should not explain those things to your next of kin before you're passing on. How can the bank help, please? And then my second question has to do also with the tier 3.
Okay.
If for instance I'm taking 10,000 cedis, please, how much will be the percentage of the tier 3? Thank you.
Okay.
Just
So-
an example of yes, thank you.
So if you're taking 10,000 as is that basic salary? So you are assuming that's the basic salary, right? Not the net. We don't calculate the tier 3 on the net. That is, we don't calculate on how much hits your bank account after we pay salaries. No. We calculate on your basic salary. So let's assume your basic salary is 1,000 cedis. Okay. So your basic salary, the basic salary is different from your net salary. Now, net salary is what hits your bank account. Okay. But the basic is normally indicated in your contract letter. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
So let's assume that if your basic is 1,000 cedis, okay, and you're supposed to pay tier 3. The tier 3, you are at liberty to choose any percentage you want to pay. There are no restrictions.
Oh, okay.
However, like I said,
okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But then you can choose to pay 5, you can choose to pay 10, you can choose to pay all the 16.5. If you want to pay 5% of the 1,000 cedis, that's about 50 cedis. Okay, that's about 50 cedis.
Yes, please.
If you want to pay 10%, that's about 100 cedis. Okay. If you want to pay
Yes.
all the 16%, that's about 165 cedis. That's what it means. Okay. Yeah. So you decide what percentage you want to pay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
So what about
Your first
communication?
question? Yeah, your first
Please,
question.
that
The
is
next
about
of kin.
the
I
next
wasn't.
of kin. Yes.
Yes, your next of kin question. I wasn't too clear with it. I'm coming. Let me put it in a different perspective for you to understand. Okay. I wasn't too clear with the question
Yes,
you wanted to ask, but this is how I understand what you are trying to say. So, for instance, you pass on before your retirement age. Is that correct? And
No,
then
please, at no, please, at retirement. And maybe you are
retirement, so
not
that exactly 60, or give me an age. Give me an
let's
age.
say
That will help.
in the course of your retirement, you pass on, and you're not
So, like
kin have no
at age 60.
exactly sir, exactly sir.
So, but you have not
Your
accessed your pensions yet.
exactly sir. That is what exactly I mean. So how would the next of kin know how much is supposed to be contributed to them? Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So with the how much, the truth is that the law in its form mandates that SNET should disclose how much the beneficiaries will get to them. Okay, so I think I didn't take you through the process on how to access the facility if, let's say, somebody passes on. So let's assume that you pass on before you started accessing your tier 2. What happens is that somebody has to write to SNET. Sorry, before you go before you access your tier 1, somebody has to write to SNET officially. But you see, usually, I mean, this is a Ghanaian mentality thing. People disclose to their beneficiaries that you are the one who would inherit my SNET should I pass on, with the fear that probably the person will give you poison to die, so that they can quickly go and collect your SNET money. Especially if they know that this is how much you earn and they calculate and they can, I mean, infer that, oh, this is how much you are likely to get. A lot of people are afraid that they will not even disclose it at all. They will keep quiet on it. So you are not aware. Then you don't even think of killing them. I mean, that is it. But I mean, whoever you are putting on it, you should trust the person, let the person know. But ideally, if let's say the person passes on, maybe a family head can write formally to SNET to notify them. Okay, and it has to be done. So once you write to SNET to notify them, then you also come for a letter from your employer. That is, if let's say you are even in employment before you pass, okay, you come for a letter. But if you are not in employment, the family head have to write to SNET directly. You now go and pick your documents or check your file and see who are the beneficiaries. So whichever family head went there with the letter, and they'll tell the family head that, you know what, the beneficiaries are Ama, Kofi, and Ajua. Go and bring them. So SNET will ask you to go and bring these people. And SNET will deal only with these people. They won't deal with the Bisapeni or whoever. That's what SNET does. And they'll disclose every information that they need to know to the beneficiaries. Okay, that's how they do it. So, and I mean, the law ensures that they do a very thorough disclosure, so they don't hide anything from anybody. Okay, so that is what they do. So I don't know if this answers your question.
Yes, please, Uncle Eric. It has answered, sir.
All right. So let me just add a few things to date as well, since you asked. Now, so normally once you go on retirement in that way, or let's assume that the person dies before retirement. Let's say the person died at age 55. So let's say the person died before age 55. Also by age 50, the person died. Now again, you can come for a letter from the employer. So in this case, you can come for a letter from me. That is, any of the family members can come from a letter from me. and then take it to SNIT. It doesn't matter who counts for the letter. You understand? It doesn't matter who counts for the letter. What matters is who are the beneficiaries. So once the person takes the letter to SNIT, SNIT will now check and find out who are the beneficiaries and disclose that to the person, that the person should go and call those people. Now, if let's say the beneficiaries are minors, so for instance, minors simply means that the beneficiaries are not up to 18 years, so that they can take decisions by themselves. Then they will request that those beneficiaries should come with an adult. So they should choose an adult that they can trust and come with that adult person. So that adult person would come and stand in to help them to facilitate the collection of their pensions. All right. So that is how it works. So I mean that's another thing you need to know when it comes to collecting the pensions that have been left behind should the person pass on before the age 60. Okay. So that's about that. All right. Any questions again? If not, I would have to continue. All right. I think there are no questions now. So then I'll continue from here. So there are a few facts you should know. One, retirement is very boring. If you don't have money, retirement will be very, very, very boring. Imagine that you were working and all of a sudden this month you have ended, just like how I have some staff today, they are going on retirement. After today, I have one staff who is going on retirement. So the last salary you collect it at the end of the month. Then you have been told that next month don't come to work, stay in the house. You wake up in the morning, you go and sit under a tree in some chair, and then you start breathing a different air. Life changes. If you don't get something that would entertain you, trust me, you age faster and probably you exit very early. Retirement is very boring if you don't have money. Retirement for me, I think, is the time that you've made a lot of money, and it's the time for you to enjoy the fruit of your labor. Because whilst working, you wouldn't have had a time to enjoy yourself properly. Because I mean, today you are here, tomorrow you are there, you are chasing money. Every day we are all chasing money. You say pressure, 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 pressure. You are chasing money. Or else you go on retirement, go and rest. But it's just people will tell that no, I want to work, I want to work. You don't want to rest. It's all because he doesn't have money to take care of himself. So he wants to work and collect more money. Even if I give you additional 10 years, it will not change anything. So you need to make enough money so that your retirement doesn't become boring. If you have a lot of money, you can decide to take a trip. I want to travel today. I'll go to US. You go and come. Or another time I'll go to this country. Enjoy yourself. Spend your money. So that when you are dying, you will really be happy to die. Some people when they are about to die, I mean at that time they will be angry because Charlie, life has not been fair to them, or because they didn't put in enough plans ahead. They waited, and it came like within a twinkle of an eye, and they have to just go on retirement. So please, let's try as much as possible to to do that. Okay. Now, some people also, because they'll be going on retirement, say, "Oh, me, I've invested in my children. Oh, I've invested in my children, so I'm not worried at all. But my children will take care of me." You will be disappointed. You're not your children. You're not in your children. Their head. You will be disappointed when it gets there. Whatever investment you do, they will decide how much they will give you. They are not under any obligation to give you what you think will be enough for you. Whatever they give you, you take it like that. If it is enough or not enough for you, fine. Even some children these days, you will even be lucky for them to even give you one cedi. So you will even be lucky for them to say, "Oh, daddy, take this," or "Mommy, take this." So you need to plan yourself. Plan yourself as though those children are not going to give you anything. When they give you, yes, we thank God. If they don't, you're on your own. So you need a lot of money to manage the boredom, the loneliness of retirement. You need a lot of money to take care of your health during retirement, even than more than now. So imagine that at the end of this month, you have been paid, let's say 4,000, and then now you go on retirement. You will not get the same 4,000. Whatever is made to pay, you will be lower. You are not the only pensioner in the country. There are so many of them. So so they can go and pay less like 1,000 cedis. 4,000 cry is not reaching you. Then 1,000 Ghana cedis, what will you do? So imagine. So that tells you that, look, if you don't plan ahead of your retirement, then you would get there and you get a shock of your life. In fact, if you're not careful, you would age faster and die before even your time. So that is what happens. So it's very, very important. So a lot of us today are not doing tier 3. So if you have not done any savings, even up to now, you can start with the tier 3. That is where you can start from. Even though there are other things you can do to increase your net worth towards your retirement, one of the simplest one you can start with is your tier 3. Register for tier 3, do 5%, 10%. I mean, something. Start with something. Small, small. You see, the funny thing is that every month you receive your salary. So the things you use your money to do are totally unnecessary. And I always ask this question. If, let's say, your salary comes and mistakenly 100 cedis of your money gets missing, will you die? You will not die. You will still live. So why wouldn't you pretend that 100 cedis of your money is always getting missing and then you are saving it somewhere? Imagine 700 cedis every month. 100 cedis times 12 is what? 1,200. Multiply it by 10 years. That's 12,000. At least, if for nothing at all, you've gotten 12,000 in 10 years. You've not even talked about the interest that will even come on it. You understand? That's just for 10 years, 12,000. But some of you now, if we should ask you, how much do you have today? Should God just turn your age and then make you 60 today? What do you have? Absolutely nothing, which is not the best, right? Okay. So based on this, we are going to look at 3 key things that you can do to protect yourself and secure yourself so that when you go on retirement, you don't go and sit down under some tree, you are playing drafts every day, waiting for the day God will call you. Rather, you have a very nice time during your retirement. You don't think plenty because the thinking, like I said, would even kill you faster. So these are the 3 things that we're going to look at. One, you can plan towards your retirement by increasing your pensions. Like I said, the tier 3, you can take the opportunity to invest into tier 3 and take your mind off it and see how the money would grow. Just like how your tier 2 is growing, your tier 3 can equally grow and give you some comfort that, yes, when I go on retirement, I'm going to have some money to rely on, except for the 2 that have been made available for me. I mean, you have more money, take care of yourself. Okay, then we'll also look at savings and investments, and then we'll look at how to become an entrepreneur. Okay, so you create some business for yourself. So this is a very small simulation I did. So imagine that I'm saving 200 cedis every month. Every month I'm saving 200 cedis into my tier 3. That is, this analysis I've done here is without interest. Okay, so 200 cedis every month. It means that in a year I would have gotten 2,400 in 1 year. And in 10 years, I'd have gotten 24,000. Now, assuming that you started work at age 25, so which is that by the time you get to retirement, that's about 35 years, you would have gotten 84,000. So if you had started this plan when you were 25 years old, by the time you retire, your contribution alone without even interest is 84,000. And I already told you, I've seen people's statements where when they go for their tier 2, the money that they've gotten, that is the interest on the money alone, is even more than how much they've contributed. So for instance, you contributed 84,000. You can get like interest over 100,000 on it because you were patient enough to allow the money stay for all that period. Okay, and you have this, and you can use this to do something for your life, invest it into something that will give you some regular flow of income in addition to the money that net will be paying you. Okay, imagine you were doing 500 cedis when you were at age 25. In a year you get 6,000. In 10 years you get 60,000. That is alone without any interest. At retirement you get about 210,000. I mean, you can even use this money to go and purchase a house. That is if you have it with the interest and everything. You can use it to purchase a house, and then you are free. If you are doing 1,000 cedis, you can imagine you have a year 12,000. In 10 years, you have 120,000. And in a matter of the time you turn 60, you would have about 420,000. Okay, the contribution alone without any interest. So imagine I was doing 1,000, 6,000, 6,000, 6. You would have gotten this as retirement, and you get more money even on this, plus your tier 2, plus your monthly pensions that will be coming. I mean, you can live a comfortable life if you manage this money well. Okay. So let's take the trouble to find a way to increase our pensions. By chopping it into your stomach today, tomorrow the trouble is there waiting for you to go and meet. And I can tell you when you get there, it's very, very ugly. You don't wish to get there, right? Secondly, I also mentioned that we can also save and invest. Now, there are different forms of investments that you can do. So once you save, you can choose, apart from the tier 3, you can do your own personal savings somewhere. I mean, you can do Susu or whatever savings. But how do you do that? You need to cut down on some of the expenditures that you engage in. Cut down on your data, cut down on your airtime, cut down on how many times you buy food outside. Choose cook enough, store and manage it. You understand? So once you do that, look at your expenditure stream. What are the things I spend on in a month? Which ones can I cut down so that I can start some savings for myself? Like I said earlier, if your 200 cedis gets missing every month, you will not die. You would live. You will never die. I've never seen anyone who said that, oh, my 200 cedis got missing this month, so I'm dead. God of that, he's dead. No, you will not die. So pretend that your 200 cedis is getting missing and start saving something. Bonds. I mean, these days people are afraid of bonds because of what happened during the previous government, where, I mean, there was this issue of domestic debt exchange program. People have to lose out, and I mean, it became very, very painful. You can also invest into shares, okay? You can go to the stock market and invest into shares. If you want to know more about how to invest into shares and all these things, I mean, when we are done on the side, you can let me know. I can take you through them one by one, okay? And then you can even invest into fixed term deposits as well, right? So these are other places that you can invest your money to. Okay. And then finally, like I mentioned, you can also be an entrepreneur. So how do you do this? There are different ways to do it. One, you can look at yourself. Some people have been gifted, some people have talents, and they can use these talents to make money. People are gifted. Some people can, I mean, some people are gifted, they can sew. So if you can sew and you know that, oh, this is a talent that I have, why don't you polish it? Invest money, so save money, go and get some fashion school, attend on the side in addition to what you have, even whilst you are working now, and then have that as an additional source of income for yourself. And you know the interesting part about this kind of jobs, they give you money on daily, weekly basis. They don't give you money at the end of the month. You don't have to wait all the way to 24th, 25th to be paid. No. As and when you do what you're supposed to do, you get your money and you walk away. You understand? So you don't need to wait. Then, I mean, say that I'm depending on only my salary. If you depend on only your salary, you will always be broke. Because before your salary will come, you know how much you are going to get. And since you know how much you're going to get, you've already spent it in your head. In fact, you even have deficit in your head. You are owing even in your head before the money will come. So how are you going to survive with that? How are you going to save out of that? You can't save. The money is not even enough for you. You understand? But you can invest into a talent that you have. God has given each and everybody a talent. You can look at what talent do I have. Can I convert this talent into making money? Invest into it, polish that skill. Or even if you don't know what your talent is, I mean, go and learn some trade, learn a skill that you can use on the side to make money. You understand? Some people choose to go into event planning, some people choose to go into catering services on weekends, fashion design. You understand? You can do all sort of things to get an additional source of income for yourself. If you depend on only your salary, I can tell you, you will go broke. Those who are successful don't depend on only their salary. For me, I use myself as an example. Apart from the work I do, I teach people economics at the master's level. People who have issues understanding economics, I teach them. I do data analysis for people's research work. I teach research methods. And I used to even play musical instrument before for money. You understand? These are things that you can do. You look at what you can do and develop this skill, invest into it, grow that business gradually, and then over time, once you even go on retirement, you can even use it to make more money for yourself. You don't even need to get worried how much you're even going to get from SNIT, how much you're going to get from tier 2. And the tier 2 money can be more of a seed fund to invest to expand this talent or this business or this skill that you have adopted yourself. Okay. So let's look at doing some of these things to secure ourselves towards our retirement so that we don't get caught up or become handicapped in the long run. And I mean, that would negatively affect us, right? So finally, I just thought of this matrix and I developed this simple 2x2 matrix. And I realized that those who are completely poor, they have not invested in physical and human capital. And when I say physical capital, I mean they don't have any source of business, any sort of money that they have invested somewhere, any sort of investment, savings, or any sort of pensions for themselves. I had a childhood friend, I mean, it's an elderly man. He recently called me and told me, look, Eric, I need a job so bad. I need a job not because I want salary. I need a job because I want to earn so that once I turn 60 years, I'll be able to earn pensions. And I was like, wow, is that your reason for looking for it? He said, yeah, that's all I want. It's not about looking for a job because I want to earn salary. No. It's because this guy has been working for himself for a very long time. He didn't save anything. He didn't take the conscious effort to say he was only squandering all the money. He had his own skill that he learned, and he was using the skill, making money, and he chopped all the money. Now today you want to work somewhere so you can save and make money. Even if he had done a private insurance pensions by himself, he wouldn't be worried. Now these days you can do that. You can equally work to SNIT, an informal sector. You are working for yourself. You can contribute to SNIT. They will show you how to go around it. You can work to NPRA, contribute to tier 2. I mean, you can contribute to pensions whether or not you are working with a formalized company. The systems are there. You can equally do that. You understand? But if you don't take the opportunity to do that, then it means at the end of the day, you become handicapped, just like you're saying. So it's very, very important that you invest into yourself. You invest into a fiscal capital. Investing into yourself, find a way to educate yourself. You see, a lot of people, some people are there, people can leave you with so much money. And trust me, if you don't have the knowledge to manage that kind of money, you squander it within a few minutes and it's done. I have classical examples that I know. I cannot even say this on this call. But I can tell people who get money and they will misuse the money all because they don't understand how to manage money. Understanding how to manage money, you don't just sit down one day and say, oh, I have this amount of money, this is what I'm going to do something. You need to have the knowledge. You understand? You need to have the knowledge to be able to know how to manage it. And that is the human capital part I'm talking about. You need to invest to learn so that you know how to manage money. You need to invest into yourself as a person to develop a skill, to develop the knowledge. And after that, you have the money, you invest into a business or invest into something that can also give you money. And the two ways complement each other. You should be able to survive your retirement period without any form of stress. So this would end my presentation. And if anyone has any questions, you can ask. All right, thank you. All right, any questions? Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please.
All right, so do you have any questions you want to ask me?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hi. Yes.
Please, the tier 3 can, as you said, the SNIT contributions and all that, those in the informal sector are able to contribute. Is
Yes.
that the same apply to those tier 3 for individuals who are in the informal sector?
Okay, so those in the informal sector, the tier 1 and 2 and 3 does not necessarily apply to them. They have what they call they can engage in the tier 3, or so they can go to the NPRE or any pensions house and then register. Or there's another option we call the personal pensions. The personal pensions. So when they go and they talk to them that they are from the informal sector, they will show you how to start contributing to pensions and then how to file your pensions at the end of every month. So if you want to do something like that, I mean, you can always let me know and I'll take you through the process. But the process is not anything difficult. Okay, just walk to them and then tell them that, oh, I'm working in the informal sector. I'm not working with a company that can contribute for me. What the president will advise you based on what you do and then which one will be applicable to you. Okay. But then again, it's just to explain that if you're working in the informal sector, yes, there's an avenue for you to contribute to pensions. Okay. How that answers your
All right.
question.
Yes, it answers. But I also want to know that the tier 3, is it deducted at source, or it comes to your account and then taken like the way insurance, the insurance companies does, they come to your account then they take.
Okay, so that's why I mentioned earlier on that if we were to give everybody their pensions to go and contribute by themselves, they would never find their way to the pensions office. So if we leave it to you to go and contribute it to yourself, I'm not sure you will even go and contribute it. So once you give us the instruction, we deduct that source and we invest it for you, so that you are not tempted to spend the money.
All right, thank you. So there's a system to also monitor like the tier 2, how we're able to review your contributions
Yes.
and all that.
Perfect. So once we register you with Petra, okay, I mean, you will receive an email or a notification from Petra, and then they will show you how to log in into their system and be checking to see how much you have and how much interest you've accrued on it. Okay. How that answers your question?
Yes, and also like the way you mentioned Petra, I believe that's an entity
Yes.
where you contribute.
Yes.
So that means there are other entities.
Oh yeah, there are so
But,
many
yeah.
of them. I mean.
Okay, so what I want to know is that can an individual be contributing the tier 3 and maybe at different two or more places? Is it
Okay, so this is what happens. I would say no. I would say no for now, because if you want to contribute to the tier 3, so since we're going to do that at source from Reliance, we Reliance have elected to work with Petra on the tier 3. You understand? We can't file it to other companies separately for you. We can only file to Petra. So otherwise, if everybody wants to pick and choose where they want to file their tier 3, and that would mean that you're going to give my accountant so much work to do, because he would have to file some here, file some there, and always be checking who and who is at this company. You understand? I mean, so much of an administrative work. So what we do is that we have elected to file with, how they call it, with Petra. So once you want to do with that, then it means you are going to file it there. But if you personally want to do a personal pensions, you can walk into any of those other institutions and then do that.
okay? That's sorry, but what happens if you change an organization where maybe you move to a different organization from Reliance and maybe their company is different? What happened to your previous fund? Did you hear me, please? I can't hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that, so if you want to go to any other institution to file an additional pension, which is like the personal pensions, you are at liberty to do that. But that one we can't do that at source for you. The one we can do that at source for, when we did that, it will go straight to Petra. You understand? I hope you're okay with that.
Yes, I get it, Eric. Yeah, I was saying, what if you change an organization, maybe you change it from Reliance to a different company, and they are paying to a different place. What happened to your previous fund? That's what I mean. Sorry.
You can port it. You can port it.
All
So
right.
you have an
Thank you.
option to port it to the new one, yes, so that the funds are all at one place. Then the interest, I mean, like I said, it will grow. But if they are scattered, it's not advisable. Okay, so you port it. So everyone should have that at the back of their minds. Once you move, let's say in the future from Reliance to any other institution, check and be sure that where are they contributing their tier 2 and tier 3. Once you find out, you move yours as well. The interesting thing is that some companies don't even do the tier 3 at all. So like how Reliance, you do tier 3. Some companies, they don't even do it at all. I've worked with some companies, they don't do tier 3 at all. So they don't even have a place they will contribute the money to for you. You understand? They don't do it. So, but then Petra, what Petra does is that even if your company doesn't do it, there is a way Petra can help you and put a certain order on your account, and then the money will be deducted and sent. But the risk is that when it happens that way, you may not get the benefit of the tax relief. Okay, you may not get it. But then I'm sure Petra would have a way of getting you to get the tax. But then if the company is not registered with the tier 3, it becomes very difficult. But you can again contribute personally to it. Okay, that's what happens. I hope you're okay with that. All right.
Yeah,
Emmanuel,
thank
please,
you.
Johannes. Sure, welcome. Emmanuel, you can talk, okay? Hello, Emmanuel.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Uncle Eric.
Yes, I can hear you. Please talk.
Okay, sir. All right. So please, my last question is that you always encourage us to do some investments to support our monthly salaries. Okay, which is a very good thing or very good advice. But the point also is, I just need an advice, maybe to help some of my colleagues as well. For instance, I'm running a business that which a little money that I've gathered for some months or years that is invested into the business. Now the business is good or it is okay with people. The patronage is high, but the demand cannot be fulfilled per the number of people who are, you know, patronizing in the deal that I'm into. Please, are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So there is always pressure. There is always pressure on you, but the income that comes, no matter how you accumulate it, the capital that you have, you can still not be able to purchase the products which the customers needs from you per the demand. So please, in this case, and since we don't also have a bigger facility to get from these agencies that funds us, like the microfinances, they don't give more than certain amount depending on our salaries. So you still need money to advance the business. This is what you advise can be done. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so you've asked like 3 questions all put together. I'm going to break it
all together exactly
into the 3 components, and then I'll explain to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I'll start from the bottom. So the bottom, the tail end of it, you talk about getting a facility to invest into your business. All right. Now, with my knowledge about investments, okay, investing into a business. Investing into a business comes with some risk. Okay. I mean, everything that you do comes with some risk. Now, people go to borrow money, and I've seen this often in Ghana. People go to borrow money. Oh, me, I'm going to open provision shop. All right, I'm going to open provision shop. The funny part of it is that they don't sit down to calculate, to see that this money I'm going to take, which is in the form of loan, and then plus the interest that's going to accrue on it. What is the cash flow? Have you sat down to calculate the cash flow that you're likely to get from that business? So you are borrowing the money for, let's say, 5 years. Maybe you've taken a loan for 5 years, let's say 100,000 for 5 years. And then you are supposed to pay a certain amount every month. The question is that, have you estimated to find out if the business you're going to do, your expected returns on monthly basis, will it be sufficient to even break even? Break even means that will the money even be sufficient even pay off the debt monthly basis without you a CD. If it can't, don't even try. A lot of people don't even sit down to analyze this. They just take the money. Oh, someone will tell you, actually, now, sir, force, you man, a pound. That is somebody just telling you something. You not sit down to calculate it. He say, oh, okay, you start then go, a good. What will you do? And that is the funny thing. You see that a lot of market women in Ghana will be praying that the loan company should collapse. I mean, how? Very interesting things people have been. I've worked in the bank before, and I mean, some funny things happen over there. The market women will go and take a facility, and they have gone to pray that the company should collapse. And once the company collapses, then they will not come after them to come and what? Collect the facility from them again. And it's all because people don't sit down to calculate, okay, I'm going for 100,000. The 100,000, okay, I want to buy plastic chairs. I want to do event plan. I want to buy plastic chairs. Now I'm buying a plastic chairs. I've bought them. The next question is that now that you bought the chairs, maybe you want to rent them out. Do you even have a market that you are going to rent this thing to? Do you have market readily available to go to rent this? So you don't have the chairs just sitting down in your warehouse or in your storeroom, whatever, without not being able to do anything. What is the plan? They're going to make sure that as soon as you buy the chairs, you're going to hit the ground running. Maybe in your locality where you are, you observe that there are funerals every month, and probably the person who even supplies is not able to supply enough, and they have to go elsewhere. Maybe that is the gap you have seen. That is the problem you have seen, and you want to solve. But you haven't started to calculate to find out how much these people are making in the market per chair. You understand? So how much do they rent it for? How much are they making per chair? Is the money, if let's say I do it 4 times in a month, because you have 4 weekends in a month. If I do it 4 times in a month, will I be able to get enough money so that once my loan payment is due, I should be able to pay off the loan? You've not done all this analysis. All you do is that, oh, it will work. Loan, I'm going to do it. You will fail if you're not careful. That's the reason why a lot of people fail in this kind of businesses. So that is to answer the loan-based part of it. So you need to sit down and calculate. The finance people will tell you that the NPV of the facility should be equal to 0. You understand? That's the net present value. Okay, when you deduct it from the cost part of it, it should be equal to 0. So the net present value of the cash we are going to make from the business for a certain duration, less the cost of the money you are going to take, should be equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, it's not a viable business. Don't even go into it. You understand? There are different models of calculating and computing to know if this is going to. We have what we call the payback method. You can compute and see, looking at the payback method, does it look viable? And you can look at the cost benefit analysis of the funds you're going to take and find out if it is viable to do this business. If you don't calculate all these things and just sit down and so you've heard, you've heard. Once you've heard that the business will work, you two are going to do. You know how the people are suffering over there. You have no idea. And it goes beyond the things you see, because on the grounds, it is a different ballgame altogether. You need to hire a car to go and take the things there. You need to get people to offload. You understand? Sometimes the chest, some of them can get broken. Some of them can get spoiled. Some of them can get missing. What are you going to do when those things happen? What plan do you have in place? You see, there is no plan in place for you to what? To solve some of these problems. You need to be able to envisage that these are the risks you are going to face. And there are different levels of risk. There's a business risk where, inherently, the business in itself, the nature of the business in itself is a risk. And then there are some external kind of risks that will come. What are the control measures you're going to put in place? We're not talking about all those things, and then you go and do it. And you see that, it will fail. You understand? So going to take a facility alone to do a business, it should be worth it. Calculate, compute, and see how well you're able to do. So sometimes when people come to me, they want to take a loan. I try to evaluate, understand, and try and understand. And I'll advise you, this you're going to do, it won't help you. You understand? Or even if you think it will help you, I'll tell you, come and prove to me. Put pen and paper and come and prove to me why you think this will help you. You're able to prove to me mathematically, and I see it. Why not? I would allow you. But if not, I don't think it's a good cause for you to go and do. Okay. Right. I don't know if I've answered you fully, but if I've left something out, please let me know.
Yes, you've given some clarities. Then you have also contributed to one of the basis of what I need to know. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Most
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
All right. Sure. Any other question? Any other question? Okay. So I think I have no more questions. So I would want to say thank you so much for making the time to join the training, and I hope it was worth it.
Eric.
And yes. Yeah, hi. Joshua.
Thanks for the presentation. It's quite an awakening to us. Sometimes we hear, we sit back, we get busy, and we drop them. But if it keeps coming often, it keeps reminding us and also putting us on our toes to move and do something.